There's a saying that if you are using a VS Code, you might be a good developer, but if you are using a Vim, then you are built different. I'm very glad to announce that I just made a switch. I am gonna use Vim going forward, and I spent some time in a last few days just to get familiarized with the Vim and build that muscle memory. And I'm kind of loving it. I am not going to be, hypocritical and talk about, yeah, it made a tremendous difference in my workflow, in my way I write code. It has not made a drastic change. Okay, I still believe that you can do the things with the VS code, and everybody has their own way of doing and their own way of being effective in a certain things, being efficient in the way of working. But I think in my case, I was feeling that affinity since while that I should go for the Vim because I see many of my co-workers use it and I heard about its feature and I wanted to give it a try and see if it is something that is for me. And this was a time where I got the opportunity where I can spend some time just to get familiarized myself. I'm not like it started to use it 100% completely into my workflow. I'm using it for my personal stuff, and I'm kind of loving it. The way it helps me to do the things quickly with just my fingers and no use of mouse. That is something which I find very appealing in my case. I had a problem with my fingers some years back and I was diagnosed with it. There was something wrong with my finger cartilage, and it was something that was very painful for me using the mouse continuously. Or if you don't have a mouse, you just use a trackpad. That is a horrible. I quit using a trackpad long back. I in the future might be considering to like go for the Kinesis split keyboard, which will be more comfortable I think for your wrist. Yeah, with the Vim, the tool like this, you completely use the keyboards and don't have to worry about the mouse, so it's good for your finger. But I think still you are using a conventional keyboard, then it becomes a pain sometimes for the longer duration if you're working in continuous manner for a longer time and your wrists are just like the in a fixed position for the long time flat. That becomes a problem. You don't basically extend your arms. So I think going for the split keyboard is something that would be a good investment that I'm thinking to do. This video is about Vim, and I'm going to talk about what are the cool things that I found about Vim and how I configured it. And if you're coming from a VS Code like me, then what things you might consider to make this transition smooth. So let's jump into my terminal and see what I got here. So I'll first talk about how I install it. So first thing that you need to do is to install the neovim, and you can do that with your favorite package manager. As usual on the Mac, most of the people prefer, I also prefer using a brew. So you can hit this command brew install neovim, and this will install the neovim for you. Okay, you will have very primitive form of a neovim that you can like still use the command nvim and open it, and then you will have most of the stuff editor with its fancy commands, the key bindings ready to use. But to make the life easy, there is this another set of plugins called NvChat, which I am recommending you guys to use, and I also use this. I really like this because it is the set of plugins that are already there. There is nothing which is coming out of the box by default. You have to customize the things, and you have to add them by your own, which is not something bad. Okay, if you're someone who prefer to like customize it and organize it in a way that you want to maybe make it very custom specific as per your need, then you can spend like a time going through the plugins, finding out which one you like, which one better suits your need, and you can configure your whole NvimTree experience there. But I think for me who wanted to just like start and get into the NvimTree journey, I think NvChat was something that I chose because it had a set of plugins that most of the people use, and if most of the people use, then why not to use? And let's explore it. Maybe at a later time I will explore something else, and I think this is exactly how it's going now. I first installed the NvChat and I explored the plugins that comes with it, and I really like that. For example, the LSP, the tree explorer. So if you have to get the NvChat, then this is the command. You just go to the NvChat and the installation page, and you basically clone the NvChat starter, and then it basically modifies your config nvim file. So this is the file which is actually a important file. ironical that I'm using VS Code to open because I just don't want to take directly into NvIM and open the file there, but we'll get there. Okay, editor configuration, then you have init lua, and this is a file which you basically configure. So as you can see that I have the NV chat things over here, and if you like to maybe add a aliases, you can add, like I add the aliases vim, and the nvim basically does the same thing. In my case, it just launched the nvim. You can customize your aliases using the omygsh, which I'm using. So if you don't know, omygsh is the simple tool that is essential. I would say it's very essential if you are someone who is developer and working with a terminal. So it gives you fancy things like this autocomplete, and it has a history as well. So maybe like if I have to type a code, as you can see that it gives me a suggestion what was my previous command, then I can like quickly autocomplete it. And you can add the aliases. As you may have seen in my videos, I use the cls for the clear. I use gtw to go to my workspace, which is my directory where I have most of my project to show. So you can like do this fancy stuff in the omygsh. Okay, all right. So I'm going to launch the NVim and see. Now we are in a NVim. So that's it. You just have to like NVim, and when you open it, you will see basically a view like this. And the first thing that you need to know about NVim or the Vim, that you have three different types of mode. The current mode I am in, as you can see on the bottom left, is the normal, which means I am just in the normal mode. And if I just like to start to type something, if I have to edit something or create a file, then I would basically press I, and then I go into insert mode. As you can see that the mode has changed over here. It says it is an insert, and if I have to get back out of the insert mode, I would just simply click the escape. Now I'm in the normal mode, and if I have to type the command, then I would press the colon, which takes me to the command mode. Now I can type the any command that I want. So for example, I can type the q, which would basically quit me out of the nvim. And I can, if I have to save the file, I would basically do a w. So for basically I'm writing something over here, and then I want to escape, but now I have to save it. I would say w, and no file name because it was just an empty file. So I can like insert and then w my text file.txt, and my txt file was written. That's it. So you can like write the file in this way, and I'm gonna zoom it a little bit so that you see it properly. There are a bunch of shortcuts that comes by default with the NvChat that I want to show you. The first one is the leader key, and by default it is a space. So if you press space, then you see a bunch of options here. So you see like the command completion. You can use these keys like B for the buffer new, which will basically open a new file. And then you have E, then you have H, N, V, and a lot of things are there. Basically you can use a combination of them together. As you can see that the D, F, G has +1, +2, and plus F has +8, which is for the finding basically. You can do so many things with the leader key and then the following key combinations. um I'm overwhelmed. I don't know from where to start. I think let's start with a basic flow, how to navigate into a workspace, how to open the workspace, how to navigate into file, how to open the files, how to edit them, save it. I think that would be a good but since I have the leader key open, I can show you that with the leader key you can open the cheat sheet. I think that you can do with the, if I have C, and then if I go to the H, then you have the cheat sheet which you can use. And this cheat sheet is just for the shortcuts that you have, which are pre-configured with the NvChat escape. And if you have to close the file, which I have here, then you use space, then you use the leader key and then X. So leader key is the space, then X, which basically close the current file. Very cool. Okay, I'm not using a mouse at all, which I'm something liking very much. Yeah, I'm using this just to show you the things and highlight it, but primarily for the using the editor and the writing code, I think there is no use of a mouse. First one that I'm going to talk is your NvimTree. So the shortcut is Control N. With the Control N, you launch the tree of your files and your current directory. So it's as similar like in the VS Code we have on the left side the file explorer. It is same as that. um And if you have to like go to a certain directory, you can like always do that. So you can like enter to command mode and then to the earth first project, and now I'm in the earth first, and as you can see that it automatically changed the tree on the left side. Now you can use your arrow keys, or you can use JKLH, which many people prefer, but I think I'm still, my brain is very tightly coupled with the arrow keys and I'm still using the arrow key. Tree, you can use the M to like mark it, so you can just like click enter and then it opens your file. And if you have to go back to your explorer or your NvimTree, let's call it Nvim. I am very used to call it explorer because I come from the VS Code background. So you can do like the your leader key, which is space E, and you're back here. Or you can do like control N, which basically hides it and then open it. It's similar like the command B, similar in the VS Code, where you use basically to collapse the sidebar, the file explorer. So it's similar like that. It's here, it's control N. The good thing is B and N keys are very near to each other, so I'm very habitual to this. So it is something that was very quick for me to understand and grasp. And you can open multiple files in your right side windows. As you can see here, I have opened 2 files over here, maybe open the 3 now. And if you have to traverse through them, you have to circle through them, you can like press the tab. Now I'm in, you can use a tab, so with a tab you can basically go through them. And if you have to close them, you do space S, space X, space X, that is, which is leader key X, basically to close it. You can change the leader key to whatever you want. I prefer to have the default one, space, because space is centrally, and I think it is more convenient to like launch this key binding things with the starting from the space. I think from the user experience it makes more sense to like launch the shortcuts with the space. Yeah, so you can basically create a new file. You can do that with the A. If I do A, I can create like a new file, my file.txt, to create a new file. And you can open that file. If you can go in insert mode and write something to your file, or some whatever, and then you can basically come into your command mode and do a write, and it would write the file. Pretty simple, isn't it? And if you have to copy, move, rename, delete the file, that is also very easy. So if for copying it is C, I mean, as simple as that, like C for the copy, you press C and then you basically do a P, and it would give you like what is the new name that you want to give for the new file. So I'll call it my file 2, and it has created the copy of my first file. And you can see that, yeah, this is the copy along with the content. And if you have to rename it, you just do R. With the R, you do a new name to it. This is my new name, blah 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 blah, whatever, and then you basically give it a new name, and you can see that, yeah, this is my new name, it has changed that. And if you have to delete that, you just do D, and it asks for the confirmation yes or no. You just do Y, and it is deleted, it's gone now. So far so good. Okay, so the NvimTree is something that I like using, because this is something we developers spend most of the time like traversing through the files and the searching them. And talking about the searching, let me, without any do show you like how you can search the file. So you do F and then you do F again, then it basically opens up a window like this, from where you can search the files in only a current workspace. So it's not like a whole search in your whole file system. It just consider it just limited to your workspace, so you can search the file. So for example, I search for the global CSS. This is something that we usually do with the control P or the command P in the VS Code, where we have to search for the file. So this is similar here, where you do control F and then F again, more one more time, and it will basically launch the find files. You can like just do enter and it will open that file. Cool. And if you have to search for a certain text in the file or the word in your file, basically any search operation in your current file, in the NVim vocabulary, they are calling it as a buffer, not a file. So in your current buffer, if you have to search it, you basically go with the space F and then you go with the C. This would basically search the file in the current buffer. So current buffer fuzzy will help you to find things. So if I do, just to show, like if I search for the RGB, then it basically show the, yeah, there are 3 occurrences, and if I just click enter, then that's it. You can also use W for this, but I think for that you need to install the grep, which is not yet configured on my machine. But there was another cool way that I discovered. You can just do a : which also launches the search feature. So I think this is something, it is coming with the nvim colon slash, which by default launches the search. So I can do like colon slash, and then I can search for the padding, and if I do enter, then as you can see that it highlights the occurrences in my file over here. Yep, so you can find the occurrences in this way. And if you have to basically edit the files, I talked about like you can go into edit mode using I. One thing that I want to show you in vim, nothing is saved by default, and for that you have to basically save it. Like in VS Code you can have auto save, but in the, I think with the NVim that should also be possible. I have not done that yet. But if you have to save it, you basically escape and then just do W. This would basically save your file. So you can like write the file in that way, and if you have to undo something, you just have to escape the editor mode, and then you have to press the U for undo. So if you just press U, it will basically undo your change and previous text. And if you have to redo that, then you have to basically do a control R. This is weird, like for undoing it is U, but for redoing it should be R. Okay, logically normally that's how it should be, but I think I don't understand why there's a control R. Maybe I don't understand the reason. I mean, this finds weird to me why there's a control R. This is something out of order. So far I think it is going good. I am loving the way I navigate over the NvimTree and the files, and I can also do a search and find. I can go into insert mode. I can come out of the insert mode. I don't have to worry about like if I type something there. Maybe autosave is something that I would like to accomplish, because it would save a time me hitting this colon Q or the colon W every times for pasting into a file, which we oftenly do, like Stack Overflow, and then find some solution and then paste it. So it is very straightforward. You can like just copy the text to your clipboard as usual you do with the command C or control C, whatever operating system you're using, and it is simple. You just like do a command V. It's very simple. I was thinking that it may have some weird thing, but I think the normal shortcut works there. Just for the undo you have to go escape and do U. But I think overall it is pretty good. I also did one more thing, which you can see that I did the syntax highlighting. That's why you can see these colorful lines. You also get the language support. You can basically add the language support for the TypeScript, for the JavaScript, and for the Angular, for the React, and you get the auto completion. I'm not dive very deep for now. I just achieved the syntax highlighting. More thing I wanted to get a good grasp of is when you work on the framework, you have the terminals open. You basically have your dev mode, or you have another for the git, or maybe you have some backend services running. You can basically keep your processes and your services running. However, the NVim also allows you to have an horizontal terminal. So if I do H, then you can see that I have a new terminal launch here. This is pretty similar like a VS Code, what we have in the VS Code. You can have your processes running here, maybe like ngserve, or you can have maybe a pm dev, or maybe you can have whatever you want, can have running them over here. However, I'm not a big fan of like keeping it here, because it basically occupy that space over here, and I need to like keep it open here. I would rather prefer to not go with this, but I would basically choose to have another instance of a terminal running, and there I would keep my processes, so that I can switch through multiple terminals. I would like to keep one terminal just for the NVim and the another terminal for my processes. So with item you can basically split it into a multiple window. You can like do it horizontally, vertically, so you can have multiple processes running there, and you can like see a clear logs of your processes. If something is breaking, you can get a clear idea from there. And I would prefer to have like just one terminal for my editor. For my NVim, I would do all the editing stuff there, and another terminal for my processes. I think, and this is how also a VS Code provides. You have a terminal which you can basically collapse, and then you have all the process running behind the scenes. So internally VS Code also follows the same principle. Yeah, so this was the quick guide, and so far I think I am quite happy with the things I'm seeing. I like the use of the keyboard. I'm enjoying the less use of the mouse, but overall I like the idea of just sticking to your keyboard and navigating fast. UI wise, it is not as great as VS Code. But I mean, that's the thing, you don't focus on the UI, but you focus on the efficiency. It is very less bloated. I mean, with a VS Code, that has been one concern for me. It takes a lifetime of a time sometimes. If you are opening a big project or doing some operation like a copy paste, it is not a case here. It is very fast. It has very minimum things, the minimum and the essential things that you need. So it is not bloated. It is very fast. You can like add the things, for example, LSP things. With the VS Code, you have a bunch of things which already comes there, so it's bloated. With the Vim, you can basically add the LSP language server protocol for whatever language that you're using, and not to have everything there. So NVim is a pretty fast. There is very less chance that it would lag or stuck somewhere, which is good aspect. So far I'm loving the NVim experience, and again, I'm not here to criticize the VS Code. Okay, I have been using it for like more than 7 years now, and I have been a fan of it. I couldn't imagine my life without it. I'm still using it, but I think considering the best user experience and the way I navigate the things, NVim is something that would be good choice for me. I would definitely would like to continue using it. Convenience and my the level of relaxedness that I achieve and how happy my fingers feel, I think that would be a real decision factor. And I think it's not that bad. It's just a matter of trying out the things. I would recommend that you just like play around a simple project like I'm doing. You just open the files, edit, close, and you just like try out the key bindings instead of just reading the key binding cheat sheet. I also have this graphical cheat sheet for the key binding, which I went through, but I think more than that, if you're trying out the things, then it automatically becomes your muscle memory, and you just don't like feel that you are doing something consciously. It happens unconsciously. For example, opening the NvimTree or the creating a new file or undoing the change, it happens unconsciously. That's the beauty of your muscle memory. So this has been my opinion and the feeling about NVim. I'm still in the transition phase. I would not say like I'm someone who has been completely moved to it and completely pro, and I'm still in the transition phase. But I see this fact very promising. It would be a real switch in a near future because I'm kind of loving it.